like astrologers have been talking about Saturn going into Aries since like last year. May 24th, Saturn is entering Aries, and of course, Daddy Saturn and Aries don't really get along because they're fighting over who's actually daddy. But I feel like Saturn and Aries is going to make us truly break down barriers around our identity and how we express ourselves. But of course, we're going to take the hard way because Aries just loves a challenge. Saturn's going to be in Aries for like 2.5 to 3 years. It will retrograde back into Pisces for some time, but while it's in Aries, it will definitely, I was going to say but like force us to understand what our value is and really be confident in who we are and how we express that. At the same time, it's going to teach us how to like take old ideas and revitalize them into new ones and adapt with the way that we're progressing. And it's definitely a time to be very open up to new ideas because we need to change our way of thinking in order to move towards success the way that we'd like to. Saturn is here to tell us how we're holding ourselves back, but also how we can establish boundaries with other people so that they're also not holding us back. This is like the perfect time to start your dream project or really take something that you love, like a hobby, and turn it into some kind of career or source of income. And this is because, like I said, Aries is all about challenges and stepping away from the status quo a little bit and doing things the way that you want to do them because you know what's best for you. And with Saturn and Aries, that's exactly what the energy is. We need to harness our inner power and really show people who we are. We're done telling people who we are. We're going to show them because it's taken a really long time for us to get to a certain level of comfortability with who we are and our structures, and now it's time to show the world what we're made of. One of the biggest lessons from this transit is to really learn how to balance our independence and also our need for cooperation. Aries is all about self and sometimes can forget that working in teams or depending on other people actually does aid success, but at the same time, you don't want to depend on people too much. You still want to have your own path, your own way of doing things, and so it needs to be a equilibrium of being independent and also working with other people. A couple days after Saturn goes into Aries, on May 26th, Mercury will actually be sextile to Saturn, which will really reinforce this new way of thinking because there's harmony between our thought processes and the way that we are establishing discipline. And I think that this will be really beneficial to start some new goals. Definitely write them down so you can manifest them because your thinking is very clear and systematic, and this is a really good time for planning towards the future. A week and a half later, on June 9th, Mercury is actually going to square Saturn, which means that we'll have a lot more pessimistic thinking and really just be down on ourselves. So it's very important to find things that kind of help us lighten the load, and maybe talking about the things that are frustrating us or the things that we're struggling with loved ones or maybe a therapist. Whatever makes you feel comfortable will definitely help you change that way of thinking and remind yourself that it's definitely a journey and there's going to be ups and downs. A week later, on June 15th, Jupiter will also square Saturn, which means that some long-held beliefs that we've had or some kind of philosophies that we've been following are going to experience a breakdown. And this is because these beliefs are no longer working for us. We need to build up on our belief system again and really adapt to who we are now so that we can be in a more responsible position, which will lead to greater inner contentment. We'll be a lot happier with the philosophies that we're following because they align with the way that we're trying to discipline ourselves. This aspect can also indicate financial hardship, so be very careful spending money that you might not have. Saturn definitely has a way of humbling us, and with Jupiter there, Jupiter is all about luck and fortune, so there's kind of a clash of energies here, so don't really bank on anything if it doesn't feel like you are going to get your money back or you're going to get some kind of benefit from it. Just be very careful making decisions around money during this time. On June 28th, Mercury will trine Saturn, and this will start to reinforce these new beliefs that we've created for ourselves through the Jupiter squares Saturn aspect and transit that we were experiencing. So I think it's kind of interesting that at the beginning of the month, we had some positive energy between Mercury and Saturn, and again, we're ending with the same kind of energy. However, in between, we're really breaking down our thought processes around Mercury and Jupiter, which is Jupiter is higher learning, higher thoughts, while Mercury is lower level learning and our communication. So, really just breaking down a lot of belief systems and the way that we communicate so that we can develop a better way of systematically understanding what's best for us and actually taking the steps to do so. There's a lot of planning, and this is going to be a great time for sustained mental work and making goals for the future. And like I said, write those things down, manifest it, try to let go of negative thinking, because this can really harm you in the long term if it's sustained for a long time. And I think that it's kind of important to realize with Mercury trine to Saturn, this is really setting us up for a positive energy. Whatever you set your mind to, you will accomplish, and those accomplishments can lead to permanent results. So the month of June is really sporadic with Saturn here, and that's just, the half of it. So we shall see what else Saturn will have in the future for us throughout the year. It's going to be in Aries for 2.5 years, 3 years, like I said. So buckle up, y'all.